What's up, guys? Welcome back to Data Dimes Radio. Today, we're going over the NFL draft, which wrapped up yesterday, and then get into the NBA playoffs, and then at the end, we're going to play a few games. But let's go ahead and start off with the draft. With obviously, there was a possibility that 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10. 3 of them did, but Will Levis somehow, who I thought would be maybe at 4 for the Colts, or maybe around the 10 through 15 range if he didn't go there. But the Vegas odds had moved him up to where they thought the Texans were likely to take him with the number 2 overall pick. Well, they end up taking C.J. Stroud after Bryce Young goes to the Panthers, and Will Levis falls all the way to the second round, where he goes with the second pick of the second round to the Tennessee Titans, which is a great steal for the Titans, I think, getting him and being able to get Peter Skoronski at tackle with their first round pick. So a great draft, honestly, for the Titans early on. And then obviously Anthony Richardson also went with the Colts, which is good with Steichen coming in from the Eagles and coaching Jalen Hurts. And now he'll have a similar quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who could be better than Hurts if developed, or he could be a big bust. Which also, I think that was what some of the concerns with Levis is. Levis and Richardson, nowhere near as polished as Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, but they were labeled to have more potential. But just some draft grades. I think the Colts had one of the best drafts. Obviously, they got Anthony Richardson, which, like I said, is a good fit for their new coaching staff. Got him with the 4th overall pick. And they, really, obviously, this past year, they were stuck with Matt Ryan and not too bad of a team besides him, but they just struggled to win games with quarterback struggles, which they also had the year before with Carson Wentz. But now they bring in Anthony Richardson, who it could be another tough year for the Colts, but he is going to be able to possibly be a franchise quarterback. And then the Colts had a plethora of picks. They had tons of people. Their second pick they took was in round 2, cornerback Julius Brents out of Kansas State. So obviously I'm a little bit biased, but he's incredibly athletic. And they just lost Stephon Gilmore, who was aging anyways. Now they get a young stud corner in Julius Brents. And then they draft Josh Downs as another wide receiver. So they have a real nice young receiving core now with Josh Downs out of North Carolina joining Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, who they drafted last year. And then also in that receiving core in the 5th round, they got tight end Will Mallory, who could have gone higher. Lots of good tight ends in this draft class. And then they pick up some other defensive pieces and a few O-linemen as well that they just got good value for. And like I said, they had a ton of picks. But my next team that I think had a great draft is going to be the New York Giants, who didn't really make any big-time headline picks. But obviously they had a surprising year last year being able to make it to the playoffs. And now they're poised to have even more success after re-signing Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. And then my final team that had a great draft was many people. After the first round, they had already kind of been the most successful team, and that is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, who got obviously Jalen Carter, who many people thought was the best player in the draft, but fell due to a poor combine performance and legal troubles. But they get Jalen Carter out of Georgia. And then another guy who was projected to go in the top 15, his teammate on the D-line, Nolan Smith, who likely fell due to his size, but he's a crazy athlete. And now you pair him with Hassan Reddick across from him, and then Jalen Carter in the middle. And this was a team that already had the most sacks in the league last year. Now they get these two. And then they get cornerback from another Georgia player, cornerback Kelee Ringo, who obviously they lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson, able to keep James Bradberry, but they also had tons of interceptions last year. Kelee Ringo's going to help with that. And then in round 3, they also brought in safety Sidney Brown from Illinois. So just obviously great first-round value overall, and they really keep that defense strong since they didn't really lose anybody offensively except for Miles Sanders, who they replaced with a draft day trade, taking DeAndre Swift from the Lions, which, speaking of the Lions, they're going to be my first team that had a poor draft, especially because of their early picks. Obviously, the DeAndre Swift trade kind of justified them taking Jahmyr Gibbs 12th overall. So I think Bijan Robinson went a few picks too high. You can kind of justify that one, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs definitely went too high. Really, the only thing that would possibly make the Lions not too bad is getting safety Brian Branch from Bama. Great safety and a positional need for the Lions. And then also taking Hendon Hooker as a guy who can work behind Jared Goff this year, and he could already be NFL ready and possibly beat out Goff. I think Goff is an underrated QB, but now they've got two solid quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker has plenty of college experience. Jared Goff has been to the Super Bowl. That can help guide this young team. But obviously, I think Jahmyr Gibbs went a little too early. And then 6 picks later in round 1 with 18th pick, they took Jack Campbell out of Iowa, who was the highest ranked linebacker. But really, this linebacker class was just a little too weak. And linebackers always go a little bit lower anyways. So I think it was just a little too high. And early in the second round, they took Sam Laporta out of Iowa, who struggled with injuries this past year, so he could have more potential, but he went off the board before Meyer out of Notre Dame, who it was surprising that the Bengals passed up on him in the first round as well. So maybe there's something that these teams were seeing since Meyer kind of fell quite a bit. I think he ended up going to the Raiders, but poor draft for the Lions, in my opinion, especially with their early picks, like I was saying. But I do like the Hendon Hooker acquisition. And then finally, I think the 49ers had a semi-weak draft. Obviously, they're already a very good team. They took Jair Brown out of Penn State, a safety, which I didn't really think they needed a safety. And obviously, it's tough for the 49ers as they didn't have any picks in the first 2 rounds. I think Brown, they could move him in more to an outside linebacker. He kind of did it all for Penn State. And I think he could actually be really good there. Obviously, 49ers also already have tons of linebackers, but if he can kind of play a roaming safety linebacker and rack up some tackles alongside Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, that could be good. But then they took Jake Moody, obviously one of the best kicker prospects in a long time since he went in the 3rd round out of Michigan. But I think it was just still way too high. I think they could have gotten him later on. And then 2 picks later, they took Cameron Law to a tight end out of Bama, which is fine. But then they also took Braden Willis in the 7th round. And I just don't think taking 2 tight ends when you already have George Kittle and a usable fullback in Kyle Juszczyk, it's a little odd. Ronnie Bell out of Michigan isn't a bad pick. Robert Beal in the 5th round, that's not a bad pick. But really, I think Jake Moody and the tight ends just really hurt him, in my opinion. And then just a quick overview. Obviously, K-State, very solid football team this year. So they had some prospects. Really, the only actual prospect that didn't get drafted was Malik Knowles. Ended as, according to ESPN, the 3rd best wide receiver available, so he didn't get drafted. But I'm guessing he'll sign with the team. And then Deuce Vaughn went in the 6th round to the Cowboys. Obviously, that was great since his dad is a scout for them. Then, obviously, I talked about this earlier. Julius Brents goes early in the 2nd round to the Colts. And then Felix Anudike-Uzomah goes to his hometown team. Very happy to see him go to the Chiefs with the last pick of the 1st round. Then NBA playoffs. Obviously, the Heat upset the Bucks in just 5 games. Obviously, Giannis was injured, but that was incredible. Jimmy Butler went off. And then another lower seed getting upset, but we kind of saw this one coming. LeBron leads the Lakers over the Grizzlies. Um, that was just great performance by the Lakers, really using their trade pieces they got. But they will need Anthony Davis to kind of play a little bit better than he did in that series. Obviously, he had Jaren Jackson Jr. helping to guard him. And then the Knicks easily beat the Cavs, which I didn't see coming. But the Knicks are a scary team. And then the Celtics struggled a little bit with the Hawks, able to knock them off, though. Nuggets easily beat the Timberwolves. Lost one game, and all the games were pretty close. But the Timberwolves just couldn't compete with the Nuggets, who also just won the game one of the second round series against the Suns, who easily beat the Clippers after Kawhi Leonard went down. Leonard obviously was off to a great start in that series, but then he got injured. And then today we've got Game 7, Kings versus Warriors in Sacramento. That's going to be a great game. But then my second round predictions, we got the Knicks versus the Heat. And I'm going to take, this is tough. Both these teams on the rise right now, but I'm going to take the Heat in 7. Knicks have been looking really good, but I'm going to have to go with playoff Jimmy. And then we got Celtics versus 76ers. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say 76ers swept the Nets for the only sweep in the playoffs so far. And then I'm going to take the 76ers in 7. Obviously, I love the Celtics. They struggled a little bit against the Hawks, and the 76ers dominated the Nets. Joel Embiid is going to miss game 1, and that's possibly the only reason that the Celtics are able to win this series, I think. But I just don't think it's the right time for the Celtics right now, and the 76ers are kind of on the move up. And then in the West, Nuggets versus Suns, obviously already happening. I'm going to take Nuggets in 7. This is another great series between the number 1 ranked seed in the West and the most talented team in the West. But Nuggets easily won yesterday, and I like them to finish out the series in Game 7. And then I think the Kings are going to be able to keep up the Warriors at home tonight. But either way, this is going to be a little bit surprising. I think the Lakers will be either the Kings or the Warriors, and they'll move on. I think that one will go to 7, maybe 6 if it's the Kings. I'm not sure. But yeah, those are my second round predictions for the NBA playoffs. Obviously, a lot could change depending on Kings versus Warriors outcome today, Game 7. And then finally, let's get into some games here. We're going to start with Weddle, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. Let me just share my screen there. Should be good. And we go to Weddle here. So obviously we're just trying to guess the player. It'll give us the hints. So let's just start with A.J. Brown to make things easy. And so he's a wide receiver that's 6'1". The green means that it's correct. And it'll be yellow if it's like close. But it's going to be an AFC 6'1" wide receiver, well over 25. We're going to go, let's see. Just a little setup guess here. Let's go Keenan Allen. I'm not sure how tall he is, but he's 6'2". So it's going to be in the AFC, not the AFC West. And he's going to be just under 30. So either 29 or 28. Maybe like a Devontae Parker. Is he still on the Patriots? Okay, so that wasn't a terrible guess. He's under the number 1. I didn't know 0 was... Is 0 an actual number for wide receivers? Not the AFC East either. Are they going to say it's like Odell Beckham? I wasn't sure what number he was with the Ravens now. Okay, so it's gonna be the AFC South. All right, wide receiver, AFC South. Um, uh, I don't. So Christian Kirk, I think, is still a little bit younger than this. Um, could it be Marvin Jones? Is he still on the Jaguars? He's on the Lions now. Um, so that actually did not help us at all. Let's see. Oh, Robert Woods is on the Titans. He's on the Texans now. So AFC South, yes, obviously, but not the Texans. Let's just try and figure out the team. Oh, but we've only got 2 more guesses. There's a chance we don't get this one. Who else is on the Jag side? Christian Kirk. Let's just guess Christian Kirk. This could be wasteful. Okay, so it is the Jaguars, but I don't know if I know another Jaguars wide receiver. I don't think Dede Westbrook is on the team still. Who else was Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to? Oh, Zay Jones. It's our last guess. It was Calvin Ridley. I forgot about him. But see, he was number 7. See, I knew it. Why is the number saying it's... Oh, wait, no. That was Zay Jones. That was number 7. Well, I guess we just failed the Weddle. I don't know if I've ever actually done that before. But we can play hard mode now, which if we fail easy, how are we going to get hard? But hard mode can be offense, defense, or special teams. So let's just start. Let's see if it's defense. Let's go AJ Terrell. So it is defense, as this is yellow, but it's going to be AFC again. Not a corner. Over 6'1", over 24. How about Chris Jones? Okay, so probably a DN here because number 95, but not a D tackle. Not in the AFC West and under 28. Okay, so that means it's 20. He's 27 because otherwise 24 would be yellow. And hard mode could be like anybody. This could be a 8th string DN. You know what I mean? Now let's see here. I think no. Calais Campbell, is he on the Ravens still? No, he is on. Oh yeah, he's on the Falcons. I'm just trying to figure out the division here. Maybe let's just go Patrick Queen, see if it's the AFC North. It is AFC North, not the Ravens. So we got Browns, Steelers, or Bengals. Bengals. Shoot. What's that guy's name? Trey Hendrickson. Not the Bengals. Move that out of the way so I can see better. Steelers. Would they have TJ Watt as a D end or a linebacker? I think linebacker. Not the Steelers. So it's the Browns. Myles Garrett. It's Myles Garrett, number 95. Yep, it was the easiest DN probably in the NFL, but we get that one. Next game we're going to play is Pirtle, which is same thing but NBA player guessing, and we can start with this silhouette. I'm going to say this is Rashawn Holmes of the Kings. No, okay. So we're talking Eastern Conference. Is that Jrue Holiday? So we got East guard, over 32. I just want to see. Sometimes you just kind of have to forget about the silhouette and think about it otherwise. Let's see. I'm gonna say Derek White. Wait, could this be Derek Rose? No. Okay. So not Knicks or Celtics, but in the Atlantic Division, 34 years old, guard under 6'3", well under 6'3". Uh, let's see. Patty Mills. There we go. All right. Get the Pirtle correct, and now we go to the hard one. This is Larry Birtle. So we have to organize this 5x5 grid here to get it to where there's 6 teams, like they go 5 in a row of the team. So you'll have 5 in a row, and then you have your 6 team like going across. You have to connect them with secondary teams. And these guys had to play on this team at the same time. So Hollis Jefferson in the Nets. Who else was there? Jared Allen? Nope. Karis LeVert? Yep. And this looks like it's another Nets team. Okay. So let's move Brooklyn here. Yep. Ooh, and then John Collins is also a Hawk. Wait, no, John Collins is supposed to go this way. We got Kevin Huerter there, Dwayne Dedmon. All right. Now which of these guys would be on the Hawks? Temple, Harris? No. Temple goes with Bogdanovich and Hill. Wait, so one of these. Nope. Okay. 15 swaps left. Dean Wade, Colin Sexton, the Cavs. Randy Foye here? Nope. Cauley Stein. Harden. Oh, Harden has to be these Nets, right? Or no, 76ers. We got current 76ers with Embiid. Garland's on the Cavs. Shoot, this, I don't know if we're going to get this one. PJ Tucker. Tobias Harris, okay. And then, is it Jeremy Lin? Nope. I don't know who this Randolph is. Okay, Lin is on these bottom Nets. All right, so we've got 4 teams. We've got the team going up, but now we have to organize. Oh, Prince was on the Hawks, right? And then Jared Allen is on the Cavs. Yep, we got it. That's final grid.